The warning signs of colon cancer are hiding in plain sight, and missing them could cost you your life. Did you know that colon cancer is the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths? But it's also one of the most preventable with early detection. Let's discuss these warning signs in detail. Sudden and unexplained fatigue. You know how we all get tired after a long day at work or after not sleeping well? But imagine feeling that same level of exhaustion, even when you've done nothing to deserve it. That's what makes fatigue caused by colon cancer so tricky. It's not the kind of tiredness you can explain away with a busy schedule or poor sleep. This is a deeper kind of fatigue that sticks around no matter what. In the early stages of colon cancer, your body can start to lose blood in ways that aren't obvious. The bleeding can happen slowly and over time, so you might not even notice it, but your body does. The loss of blood means fewer red blood cells to carry oxygen, and when your organs aren't getting enough oxygen, you start to feel constantly tired. It's easy to brush this off as just a busy life or getting older, but it could be a sign of something more serious. So, if you're experiencing ongoing tiredness that doesn't seem to have a clear cause, it's worth paying attention to, especially if it's a new kind of fatigue for you. People often overlook this sign because they think they just need more sleep or that life is catching up with them. But when fatigue is sudden and doesn't go away, it could be a signal that something more serious is happening inside your body. Change in stool shape and consistency. When we think about bowel movements, we don't usually pay much attention to the shape of our stool. But here's the thing, your stool can actually tell you a lot about your health, especially when it comes to your colon. A common but often overlooked sign of colon cancer is a change in stool shape and consistency. One of the more unusual signs is stool that looks thin, almost ribbon-like. This could be because there's something inside your bowel, like a tumor, that's partially blocking the passage. When something is constricting your bowel, it makes it harder for your stool to pass through, which changes its shape. Most people might just think they're a little constipated or that they ate something that didn't sit well, but this could be a sign of a bigger issue. It's easy to ignore something like this because it's not painful or alarming at first. But if you notice that this change in stool shape happens regularly, it's worth getting checked out. Changes in your bowel movements are one of the first signs that something might be wrong with your digestive system, and colon cancer could be one of the causes. Unexplained weight loss. It's normal to be happy when you lose a little weight without trying, right? But if you're dropping pounds and you haven't made any changes to your diet or activity level, it could be a red flag. Sudden, unexplained weight loss is a common symptom of many types of cancer, including colon cancer. When your body is fighting off a tumor, it requires a lot more energy than usual. The immune system kicks into high gear to try to combat the cancer cells, and this burns a lot of calories. On top of that, if a tumor is growing in your colon, it can affect how your body absorbs nutrients from food. You might be eating normally, but your body isn't getting the nutrients it needs, which leads to weight loss. It's easy to overlook weight loss as a symptom because it can feel like a positive thing. But if the weight is coming off and you're not sure why, especially if you're not exercising more or eating less, you should take it seriously. Weight loss without an obvious cause is one of those symptoms that could be a warning sign of colon cancer, and it's important not to ignore it. Blood in the stool or rectal bleeding. This is one of those symptoms that people often shrug off. If you see blood in your stool or experience rectal bleeding, it's easy to assume it's just something minor like hemorrhoids. A lot of people have hemorrhoids at some point, and they don't usually cause serious health issues. So when blood shows up, the first reaction is often not panic, but a quick assumption that it's probably nothing to worry about. But here's the thing, blood in your stool can also be a sign of colon cancer, and that's something you don't want to take lightly. The tricky part is that it doesn't always look like bright red blood. Sometimes it might be dark or even make your stool appear black, which means the bleeding is happening higher up in the colon. Because it can be subtle, many people ignore it until it's too late. When bleeding is caused by colon cancer, it's usually from a tumor that's irritating the lining of the colon or rectum. The blood can show up on its own or mix with the stool, which is why it might not be obvious at first. And while hemorrhoids can cause similar bleeding, they generally come with other signs like itching or pain, which isn't typically the case with cancer. If you notice blood, especially if it's happening more than once, don't just assume it's hemorrhoids or something minor. It's worth getting checked out to rule out anything more serious like colon cancer. Frequent and sudden bloating. Bloating is another one of those symptoms that can be easy to brush off. Everyone feels bloated at some point, especially after a big meal or if you've eaten something that doesn't agree with you. But if you're feeling bloated all the time, even after small meals, that's not normal. When bloating becomes frequent and happens suddenly, it could be a sign that something is blocking your colon. If there's a tumor in your colon, it can create a partial blockage. When this happens, food and waste can't pass through your digestive system as easily as they should, and this leads to bloating. The buildup of gas and waste causes your abdomen to feel tight and uncomfortable, sometimes even painful. You might also notice that you feel full after just a small amount of food, or that your stomach feels hard to the touch. What's important to understand here is that bloating related to colon cancer isn't the same as regular bloating. It's not something that goes away after a few hours or a day. It's persistent and keeps coming back, often without any clear cause. If you've noticed that bloating has become a regular part of your life, especially if it's happening after even light meals, it's something to pay attention to. It could mean that something is blocking your colon, and that could be a sign of colon cancer. Feeling of incomplete bowel movements. You know that feeling when you go to the bathroom but you don't quite feel done? It's like there's something still there, and you just can't fully empty your bowels. While this can happen occasionally to anyone, if it's happening regularly, it might be a sign that something is wrong. When you constantly feel like you haven't finished a bowel movement, it could be because there's a growth, like a tumor, in your colon. The tumor can block part of the bowel, making it difficult for stool to pass through completely. This leaves you with that lingering sensation that you still need to go, even though nothing more is coming out. People often ignore this feeling because it doesn't seem like a big deal. It's more of an annoyance than a painful symptom, so it's easy to dismiss. But if this sensation is happening regularly, especially if it's combined with other symptoms like bloating or blood in the stool, it's worth taking seriously. A tumor can cause this incomplete feeling because it's disrupting the normal function of your colon. So if you're constantly feeling like you haven't finished after using the bathroom, don't just ignore it. It could be a sign that something is blocking your bowel, and that could mean colon cancer. Abdominal pain or cramping. We all get stomach cramps from time to time, and most of the time, it's easy to blame it on something we ate or a bit of gas. But what happens when that pain just doesn't go away? If you've been dealing with consistent abdominal pain or cramping that doesn't seem to have a clear cause, it's time to pay closer attention. Pain from gas usually comes and goes pretty quickly. You might feel discomfort for a while, but once your body works it out, you're back to feeling normal. However, when the pain lingers and becomes more of a constant presence, it could be a sign that something else is going on. In the case of colon cancer, a tumor in the colon can cause persistent pain. It's not just a sharp or sudden pain either. Often it's a dull, ongoing ache that's easy to ignore at first. But if it's sticking around, it could mean that the tumor is growing and pressing against other organs or blocking parts of the colon. This kind of pain can be subtle, which makes it even easier to dismiss. A lot of people think it's just indigestion or something minor, but if you notice that the pain isn't going away, it's important to talk to your doctor. Persistent abdominal pain can be an early warning sign of colon cancer, and it's better to get it checked out sooner rather than later. Nausea and vomiting. Nausea and vomiting are things that most people chalk up to food poisoning or a stomach bug, and most of the time, that's exactly what it is. But what if those symptoms don't go away after a day or two? If you're dealing with recurring nausea or vomiting, especially if it seems to come out of nowhere, it might be related to a blockage in the bowel caused by a tumor. When a tumor grows in the colon, it can create a partial or full blockage that prevents food and waste from moving through your digestive system as they should. This obstruction causes a buildup in the digestive tract, which can lead to nausea and vomiting. It's a pretty uncomfortable feeling, and because it mimics common illnesses like stomach flu, it's often ignored. If you're finding that you're feeling nauseous or vomiting without any clear reason, especially if it keeps coming back, it's a good idea to get it checked out. Your body might be trying to tell you that something more serious, like a tumor, is interfering with your digestive system. Nausea and vomiting can be a sign that your colon isn't functioning properly, and in some cases, this can be due to colon cancer. Pale or yellow skin, or jaundice. Pale or yellow skin, also known as jaundice, is a pretty rare symptom of colon cancer, but it's one that signals the disease may have progressed to a more advanced stage. Jaundice happens when something is going on with the liver. In cases of colon cancer, if the cancer has spread to the liver, it can interfere with the liver's ability to filter out toxins and waste from the blood. When this happens, a buildup of a substance called bilirubin occurs, which causes the skin and the whites of the eyes to turn yellow. While jaundice is more commonly associated with liver diseases, it can also be a sign that colon cancer has spread beyond the colon. If you notice your skin turning yellow or becoming pale, it's definitely something to get checked out right away. It's not a symptom you see early on in colon cancer, but if it appears, it means the cancer has reached a point where it's affecting other organs, like the liver. This is a serious symptom, and if it's combined with other signs like abdominal pain, nausea, or unexpected weight loss, it's a clear signal to seek medical advice. Jaundice might be rare in colon cancer cases, but when it shows up, it's usually because the cancer has advanced and quick action is needed. So, we've just explored 10 of the most unexpected symptoms of colon cancer, including changes in bowel habits, unexpected fatigue, and sudden weight loss. If you experience any of these signs, don't hesitate. Speak to your doctor immediately.